What can we understand about what's going to happen in Owensboro because of these 450 new jobs?
More than just an incredible day, it is a banner day because the announcement, $232 million in terms of number of jobs, is the largest jobs announcement this year in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Congratulations.
If you're in commercial real estate, if you're a developer, if you're a broker, if you're an investor, if you're any type of tangential industry that deals with commercial real estate, what can we do to predict how those new jobs are going to affect demand for the different types of space? How many more apartments are we going to need?
Okay.
How much more office space? We're going to be able to figure out how many more retail dollars are going to be in Owensboro. How much more disposable income there will be.
Well, to this region, you can imagine bringing 450 well-paid jobs to a community.
Apart from commercial real estate, it's just very, very interesting to know that 519 jobs, what's under the surface of that is a lot more jobs that are coming. There was a big announcement about, and our governor came to Owensboro, Kentucky, to Andy Beshear.
Andy Beshear.
Andy
yes.
Beshear, which the more I learn about Andy, the more I like him. I don't know what you feel about him.
The opposite. But yeah, that's fine.
And that's about as far as politically we go.
Yeah. Hey, I will say this about him.
Yeah.
He comes off as incredibly likable.
Yes.
He really does.
Yes.
Yeah. And man, he was in consideration for vice president.
That's right. And people know who he is now.
Yeah, it's anyway, interesting. So I'm in Florida the last couple of days. My friend Eric Johnson, who's a CCIM and I don't know exactly what town he's in, like the Port St. Lucie area.
Yeah.
Kind of the Treasure Coast of Florida.
Yeah.
The Florida CCM chapter is so big, they're divvied up into districts. And he's I think the district president this year. And so he had an event. It's his second annual CCIM for that district. CRE symposium. And they hired me to come down there and talk a little bit about AI. But while I'm down there, I'm reading the news and I see this picture of Governor Andy Beshear, and he's making an announcement. I'm trying to find it. He's making an announcement. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh, I know exactly what we're doing on Friday when we record.
That's right.
And so let me share this.
Our governor made a big announcement because for those of you that do not know, Zen pouches, they are made right here in our hometown of Owensboro, Kentucky, or at least a lot of them are.
Wait a second. Do you know that Riverside here will pick up the chat from the live stream?
Yeah.
In Riverside.
Yeah. The Omni chat, baby.
I just noticed that. That's super cool.
Yeah, cool. So Bo's about to share his screen so we can see what he's talking about. What the heck are you talking about?
So I'm down there and I see that the governor comes to town and they make a big announcement. And this is one of those things that generally the governor shows up, kind of gets credit for it, likely had little to nothing directly to do with it.
Yeah, okay.
But he shows up because this is a big announcement, especially for Owensboro. Swedish Match, which is now owned, I think, by R.J. Reynolds, is the maker of Zen.
Yes.
The smokeless nicotine pouch you put in your mouth or whatever.
I do put them in my mouth, yes.
It's what a stupid thing to say. Anyway.
But me specifically, I use them often. It's smokeless tobacco.
Yeah.
Or smokeless is tobacco-less nicotine. That apparently is a lot better for you than smoking or any other tobacco products.
So here's the big deal about this.
This is not a sponsorship from Zen.
Zen has blown up. There's a huge amount of demand for this product. And so they are doing a $232 million investment in the Swedish Match factory here in Owensboro to expand production from 5 days to 7 days a week. They're adding a bunch of jobs. And so here's how the report reads. Okay. I'm just going to scan through it a little bit. And this is what the governor will show up to.
Here we go. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. This is what the governor shows up to announce. All right. With all this economic development, quote, this is with all this economic development talk, when will Owensboro benefit? Because Kentucky's gotten a lot of new jobs over the last couple of years, but not our part of the state. When will Owensboro? That answer came Tuesday when Swedish Match and Philip Morris, not R.J. Reynolds, a Philip Morris International Incorporated subsidiary, announced a major expansion in Davis County. In addition to hundreds of permanent jobs, officials estimated 2,800 trade jobs will be generated, all combining for an economic impact totaling hundreds of millions of dollars.
Woo!
Okay. Now, the 2,800 trade jobs, those are construction jobs.
Okay. They're
temporary. So they may span over a couple years. They're good, but they're not the kind of jobs that we're going to that'll move the needle long term.
Yeah.
They'll give us a nice little bump for sure, but they're not permanent jobs. Whole different ballgame. All right. So here's citizens, business owners, elected officials flooded the riverfront on a hot Tuesday morning to hear Swedish Match leaders, Governor Andy Beshear, and other elected officials announce the $232 million investment. The expansion will create, here we go, 450 new jobs at the company's Owensboro facility, which produces Zen nicotine pouches. The project is expected to have a $277 million annual regional economic impact.
Ooh.
So $250 million annual regional impact. That's pretty big. Where's that number even come from?
I don't know. You know.
Well, it's just, they throw these big numbers out.
Right.
The numbers are so big that you can't really comprehend them in the first place.
Right.
They could have said any number over 100 million and it doesn't feel like a real number to me.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But what does this all mean? And here's the question, and here's what I'd like us to do today.
Okay.
Is what can we understand about what's going to happen in Owensboro because of these 450 new jobs?
Yeah.
Now, there was also on the other side of town recently, MizCon. MizCon is the company that bought Ragu.
Okay.
And so Ragu sauce is made here in town. In fact,
right.
If any of you anywhere in the country are using red Ragu sauce tonight, it was made right here in Owensboro, Kentucky.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
MizCon announced an expansion over there, and they're going to add something like 67 jobs or something like that.
Okay.
69 jobs, actually, I think. No joke from you. All right.
Okay.
And so what we've got coming in Owensboro are 519 new jobs. That's what we've got coming over the next year or two, or however long it takes for this stuff to get. The question is, if you're in commercial real estate, if you're a developer, if you're a broker, if you're an investor, if you're any type of tangential industry that deals with commercial real estate, what can we do to predict how those new jobs are going to affect demand for the different types of space?
Yeah.
So we have over the 70 plus episodes, we have talked about this here and this here. Matter of fact, the first episode we ever did was on economic base analysis.
Yeah, maybe.
Over all these episodes, we've talked about a lot of different things that impact what we're, I think, going to be able to pull all together in today's episode. And look, if you don't care anything about Owensboro, I don't blame you. Most of our listeners aren't in Owensboro, but many of them are.
Mm-hmm.
You can do exactly the same very thing with a job announcement in your town.
Yes.
All right. So no pop quiz at the end of this one.
Okay.
I'm going to be quizzing you throughout this episode.
No, that sounds
because
great.
A lot of this we've covered already.
Yeah.
But we're going to put it together, and we're going to try to tell.
Yeah.
How many more apartments are we going to need?
Okay.
In Owensboro?
Yep.
How much more office space are we going to need in Owensboro? Yeah. Now, you can do the same thing with industrial space as you can do with office, but it's, to me, watered down and not as effective.
Okay.
So here's the big takeaway. We're going to need more industrial space because of this, but we're not going to spend the time to figure out how to do it. So I'm less comfortable with the model of how you predict industrial space than I am of anything else.
Yeah.
And then retail, we're going to be able to figure out how many more retail dollars are going to be in Owensboro, how much more disposable income there will be.
Yeah.
when those 519 jobs materialize.
Okay, so what is that? Let me say it back to you. We got 519 jobs that are coming.
Yes.
So underneath the surface there, that means there's going to be more disposable income, and how much, right? That's good to know for any businesses that are selling anything. And then also how many more households are going to be in demand in office space as well, especially people who are interested in buying or selling commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Those are good things to know. How much is coming? Apart from commercial real estate, it's just very, very interesting to know that 519 jobs, what's under the surface of that is a lot more jobs that are coming, depending on what kind of jobs they are. And I know we're about to talk about like basic, non-basic. What are these jobs? What does that mean? Because depending on that job, that could be way more jobs.
Yes.
Coming to town, which means way more disposable income potentially. Just
also had a plant close. That was the Duramic plant. And let's see how many of those jobs were lost.
20 jobs.
We lost 120. So let's use 400. We're going to net 400.
Okay, cool.
We were dealing with 519. 120 were lost earlier this month.
Nice round number. I like that.
Wait, that was in July. So 2 months ago. And we'll just roll with 400. Okay. Now, you mentioned it, but all jobs are not created equal. We have two categories of jobs. And what are they?
Basic and non-basic.
That's exactly right. Is that the ding ding? I'm going to put this back on so I can hear the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, ding ding. That's basic,
Nice.
non-basic jobs. That's what we got.
Good. So, basic, non-basic. Tell me the difference.
So a basic job is the opposite of what it sounds, because most of the time, anyway, I'm not. I'm just going right back to that first thing. Basic job, simply put, is you export goods, which brings new dollar bills into the community.
And that's really the key. Those new dollar bills coming into the local economy are huge.
Yes.
Because as dollar bills that are in the economy continue to circulate, taxes and savings happen, and that amount of money just dwindles over time. And so if you don't have new dollar bills coming into the local economy, you will run out of money in that local economy, and the local economy will die.
Yes.
Right? There's a hole in the bottom of the bucket, and we have to continually bring in new dollar bills. So these basic jobs that create something that's exported, whether it's a good or a service, it's exported outside the local community, and it brings those new dollar bills in. Huge deal. Every community has them. Every community absolutely needs them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, so the question is, are these 400 jobs we're talking about?
Right.
Are they basic or non-basic? So
yes.
Non-basic, by the way, since we didn't, non-basic jobs are the types of jobs that circulate dollar bills that are already in the local economy.
Right.
So like service jobs, attorneys, doctors, teachers, commercial real estate people.
So, yeah.
All of those, again, this has nothing to do with blue collar, white collar. This has nothing to do with the amount of money that the job provides. This is just what they do. Does it get exported out to bring new dollar bills in, or does it stay in the local economy and just circulate? So non-basic, I'm non-basic.
Yes.
But something that creates. So the way we figure out what's basic and non-basic is we do an economic base analysis. And do you remember what the LQ is? This is way back into the archives.
Right. LQ, like
it
what that
stands for location quotient. But what does it tell us?
It tells us the population?
No. No. So let's do this. Let me share my screen again, and we're going to figure out if these jobs are basic jobs or not in Owensboro.
Leland, shout out to Tara Walsh, Barron, and Leland Herzog in the chat right now. Leland says 156 question mark. Did we say 156 at some point?
I don't.
What do you mean, Leland?
156.
Let us know so we can address that.
So we're going to go to this website right here. And what I'm looking for is I want to see if something is a basic or a non-basic category or not.
Okay.
And the way I'm going to do that is if I went into like get the raw data, I would compare what percentage of jobs, and look, all of these jobs we're talking about, they're manufacturing, Zen specifically, or ragu sauce.
Right.
So
basic jobs.
we're talking about manufacturing jobs. And the way you can tell if whatever the job is part of the economic base or not, it's you figure out what percentage of jobs in the Owensboro MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area, what percentage of those jobs are manufacturing?
Oh, okay.
And let's say it's 12%.
Okay.
Then you look at the nation and you say, what percentage of manufacturing jobs are there in the nation?
Yes.
And let's say it's 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the assumption you make here to do the location quotient method is you assume that if 100% of jobs in the United States handle what's needed in the United States, then whatever the percentage is in the United States would naturally be what you would expect if every local economy just had the amount of jobs that they needed in the local economy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Therefore, if manufacturing jobs are at 12% and the U.S. economy is at 10% manufacturing jobs, we have more than our share
of manufacturing.
And so we are making more than we need, and we're sending it out into the United States, getting new dollar bills back. Did you like that?
I did. Do that move one.
Oh, I really don't want to.
Do that move one more time.
Now that you've made me self-conscious
do that move one more time. I like it. Send it on out, Eric.
I do. I did not enjoy that at all.
Okay.
So since we have more than our share, we're sending it out. Okay. So most of the time, manufacturing jobs are sending stuff out, right?
Right.
We don't make enough Zen just for the demand in Owensboro here. We make it, and I don't know where else they make Zen pouches, but a big portion of the demand in the United States is handled here. So, just by definition, we understand, all right, those are going to be basic jobs. Same thing with ragu. As soon as I heard what companies were creating these new jobs, I knew right away, okay, we're talking about basic jobs here, which is great.
Okay.
However, let's prove it.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to go to Davis County. And this is,
Here we go.
I like that.
Yeah.
So here I'm running a shift share analysis. We're not going to talk about shift share here today, but this gives me some information that I need for economic base analysis. So if I scroll down here to the data table, here's my 2023 location quotient. And so what I want to look for here is I want a 2-digit NAICS code. So I'm looking at the super sector level, and I want LQs greater than 1. If the LQ is greater than 1, there's basic jobs there. We've got more than our share. If it's equal to 1, we have exactly what we need. There's no need to send anything out in the world, export anything. And if it's less than 1, we don't even handle our own demand.
Yeah.
And so we have to import goods and services.
Okay.
So we're looking for manufacturing. That's here. Super sector or NAICS code 31 through 33 is manufacturing. And if we scroll over here, the location quotient is 1.73, which tells us what?
That there are
Finish that sentence.
173 jobs.
No. If the LQ is 1, we have all the jobs we need to handle the demand.
Then we're over it by 70.73.
Yes. So it's greater than 1. Therefore, there are basic jobs in manufacturing in our town.
Aha.
So manufacturing is a basic sector for Owensboro, Kentucky.
Okay.
That's what that tells us.
Okay.
Now, to get the percentage of basic jobs, you would take LQ minus 1, which is 1.73 in this case, minus 1 divided by 1.73. Now, we're not going to mess with that here.
Okay.
We're just going to look at those 400 jobs and understand, and we've proven it now, they're part of a basic sector in Owensboro. They are basic jobs.
Boom. Proven.
Now, our gut told us that right off the bat.
Yeah.
But if this were like finance and insurance jobs, it wouldn't have been as clear to me.
Yeah, sure.
Manufacturing, by definition, is almost a basic job.
Right.
But finance and insurance, Like I would have had to look that up. And if you look it up, that's super sector 52. LQ's 1.21. So that's also part of the basic sector for Owensboro.
Oh, yeah.
Finance and insurance.
Yeah, okay.
As is administration of waste services. Go team.
Go team.
Actually, not anymore, but it was in 2012. Healthcare and social assistance. You can see some of these ones in green have LQs of greater than 1. So,
Okay.
anyway, we've proven manufacturing. So that's great.
So
Now,
those are basic jobs.
Those are basic jobs.
Okay.
Now that we understand that they're basic jobs, what's the next thing we have to figure out?
In order for what?
Well, we're in our end result here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to predict demand for different types of real estate. And all we have over here is a number of basic jobs.
Yes.
So what's the next thing we have to figure out?
Is it population or households?
That's okay. So on the pathway to get where we want to go, we're at the very beginning. We have 400 basic jobs. We want to end up predicting demand for. We're going to do it for retail, apartments, and office.
We want to know the economic base multiplier.
Yes.
Yeah, baby.
Nicely done. We need to figure out the economic base multiplier.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to, let's not get into the weeds of how exactly you figure that out.
Okay.
Let's just talk about what it is.
Okay.
The economic base multiplier says for every one basic job, there are X amount of non-basic jobs.
Yes.
Or in other words, basic jobs create or have a multiple that creates non-basic jobs.
Correct.
So for every one of these 400 people, you know what we're going to need? You know what we're going to need more of?
Space.
Well, space, but let's just keep it with jobs.
Yeah.
Will those 400 people,
They need a barber.
We're going to need more. There's going to be demand for more haircuts. Absolutely. There's going to be demand for more restaurant servers.
That's right.
There's going to be demand for more realtors, insurance agents, attorneys, doctors, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all non-basic jobs most of the time. And so these basic jobs have a multiplier and they're going to create non-basic jobs. So for us to predict how many more people are going to be in Owensboro once we get these net 400 new basic jobs, we have to figure out how much more total employment. So 400 basic, we got to figure out what the economic base multiplier is. And then we'll figure out how many total jobs are there going to be once we get these 400.
Yeah,
now,
baby.
I've got a little cheat sheet here.
That's what's under the surface.
And if I click on Davis County here, it tells me 6.71 is the economic base multiplier. So write 6.71.
Okay.
This is
6.71.
CCIMs have access to this. It's part of Site to Do Business. Is that what you're asking? Where do I get this information?
Yes.
Yep.
Site to Do Business, baby.
Now,
we also got a question regarding LQ lesser than 1. Should we hit that real quick before we go?
Yeah, what's the question?
Okay. So it's on the stream. Look, can you see it? Can you see it?
Oh, let me go back over here.
Look at that. Isn't that cool?
For the sectors that have an LQ lesser than 1, is that suggesting a wide space demand for more of those types of public services? No, not necessarily. What it's saying is there's no basic jobs in those employment sectors.
Okay.
That's all it's telling us.
Okay, cool.
So I wouldn't read into, that's not necessarily an indication of demand.
Mm-hmm.
Every community has certain competitive and comparative advantages, and they're generally around where they have basic jobs.
Yeah.
So we don't need to try to get our tech sector up to 1. We're not going to do that here.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Let Austin and Silicon Valley and those places, Nashville, let them do that.
Good question, Tara. Thank you.
That is a good question. So if I'm looking at 2023 total employment down here, we've got pretty good data here. I'm not seeing anything missing. All these numbers land for me like I believe them.
Yeah.
Just understanding Owensboro. And so I like this number, 42,000 jobs in Davis County. 11 years ago, we had just under 37. So we've had 5,200 jobs, growth in those jobs over that period of time. The unclassified sector should be pretty small, and it's zeroed out. Like, we don't have data for that.
Yeah.
So what I'm really looking for here, what I'm doing right now, is I'm looking for gaps in the data. Sometimes there's gaps. It used to be we couldn't get this public administration information.
Yeah.
That's 1,400 jobs that just wouldn't calculate in. There'd be a zero there.
Yeah.
And if I started to see gaps, then I would take that economic-based multiplier and I would shrink it down a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm not seeing any gaps. I like my data set here. It feels right to me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's roll with 6.71. Okay, I think that's a good number for us. So
Great.
We've got 400 new basic jobs. We've got an economic-based multiplier of 6.71.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we multiply 400 by 6.71, we can project what the total amount of employment growth is going to be.
Right.
Because of those 400 jobs.
Right.
So let's do the math.
We can get it before
400
we can.
times 6.71. Oop, I did it wrong. 400 times 6.71 is 2,684 total new jobs.
All right.
Now, this is why basic jobs are better than non-basic jobs,
Why?
because they have a multiplier.
Yay.
If Beshear wouldn't have showed up for 400 non-basic jobs, actually he might have, but you know what the economic impact of that would have been?
I mean,
Way
that's
less.
it, right? I mean,
It would have been 400 jobs
right.
total
Right.
if they were non-basic jobs. But because these were basic, they have a multiplier. And so Owensboro can expect in the next couple of years that there's going to be 2,684 new jobs.
Woo.
Now, we have 100,000 people who live here. That's significant.
Mm-hmm.
You drop 500 new basic jobs or 400 new basic jobs in Phoenix, Arizona, and nobody notices.
Mm.
It's still great for them.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to notice. But that's 2.6% job growth
Yeah.
in a couple years.
Right.
In the last 11 years, we've had 5,200 total. And in the next couple years, we're going to get 2,700 new jobs.
Right. That's like over the last 11 years.
There's been 5,203.
Yeah.
And we're going to get,
Just double that. And yeah, in one year, we're getting half of that.
for however long it takes them
Yeah.
to build this and
Oh,
staff
sure.
it up. But
Sure.
now we have basic jobs. We have total new employment.
Mm-hmm.
Now what we need to figure out is how many people are going to be here. And the way we do that is we go to Site to Do Business. Again, this is a tool that you have if you're a CCIM designee or candidate.
Site to Do Business. And we're trying to figure out right now households.
Well, no. What is the next thing we're trying to figure out?
Well, we got jobs, right? We just did total jobs. Now we want to know, population.
Total population.
Okay.
So the question is, what's the population to employment ratio?
Yes.
That's what we want to know. And it's real easy to do. Clear all this out.
Now, remember when we first did this, we did not have the access to AI like we have now, right? So there were some questions I had, and you're like, this is a black hole site to get through and get to.
For BLS?
Yeah, but like figuring this out here using Perplexity, right? Do you got any plans to do that on this stream?
I do,
Okay, cool.
actually.
Yay!
Well, no. I was going to do it. I tested it out early, and
Yeah.
here's the bottom line.
Yeah.
When I was in Florida speaking about this 2 days ago, I demonstrated Perplexity in front of that room, and I used Miami's MSA. And I asked Perplexity to go get the super sector jobs
Mhm.
and figure out the LQs for me, and it did it. And then I tested people in the room, like, how do you feel about these numbers? People that know their market and are from Miami, like, do you know these? Do these numbers feel right to you?
Right.
And they validate and they're like, yeah, that looks right. Okay. When I tested it for Owensboro this morning, it's like the data wasn't as good.
Yeah. Okay.
And what it was no. So I used Site to Do Business.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Instead
I see.
to get that. So anyway.
Okay, cool.
All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to
Population to employment ratio, right?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to select Davis County on the map.
I'm not seeing the correct tab. I think we're still at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I want counties.
Here we go.
So here what we have is we have Davis County, and I'm going to run a couple reports. First one I'm going to look at is the business summary. I'm going to run this bad boy. It takes about 3 seconds.
2, 1. Here we go. Oh, while we're waiting, this is a gift from Leland's wife, Alex, my friend Leland.
Is that a stool?
That's a stool sample.
That's funny. All right, so here's my report. And here's what we've got. Let me make this bigger. Total employees, 51,902. So we're going to take that. 51,902. Total population, 104,450. So to figure out your population to employment ratio, you take your population, divide it by your employment, and it gives you the ratio. It's really simple.
Go. Okay.
Really simple. And so it's about 50%, but let's get the exact number, 104,450 divided by 51,902. And that gives us a population to employment ratio of 2.01. Now we're going to make the assumption that that ratio is going to remain constant. And we're going to take that total new jobs of 2,684. We're going to multiply it by that population to employment ratio of 2.01.
Okay.
So 2.01 times 2,684. And that is going to lead to a population increase of 5,395 people. That's total new population because of 400 new basic jobs.
Wow.
Now you can start to see the kind of impact that 400 jobs can really have and why they're saying, oh, there's an economic impact annually of $277 million.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get 5,395 new people. Now, once we have this number, now we can start applying it to the different property types. So we're going to ignore industrial, and for our purposes,
sorry,
here today,
Chad. Chad. We're going to ignore it. Your future wife. I love that.
So we're going to look at multifamily. We're going to look at office, and we're going to look at retail. Now let's start with retail, and do that though. Let's run a couple other reports here.
Okay.
So instead of the business summary, I also want the executive summary. And if you're looking at this tool and watching me do this and going, man, I wish I could do that, join the CCIM Institute.
Yeah.
As a candidate, you'll have access to this, and you want to have access to this.
Yeah. No, we've done a few of them. When this goes out, when we're not live, after it's edited, you can watch a few of them here. But oh my goodness, the Site to Do Business is so fun to play with. I've never played with it. I've watched you play with it, but I love watching Bo play with it.
All right, let's bring it back here.
Yep.
Now let's start with retail.
Okay.
What drives retail demand? Do you remember this from our episode where we were really talking about segmenting demand and the different property types and what drives demand in retail?
Income.
Yes.
Disposable
income. That's exactly right. Ding. So what we want to do is we want to understand, because we're going to make the assumption that the average income is going to remain the same.
Okay.
We're just going to have 5,395 new people. So we want average per capita income. We could also do median per capita income. And what is the difference between average and median?
Median, well, average is you take the average, but obviously. And then median income is kind of like what's in the,
You said it. Just say what you're going to say.
What's in the middle?
What's in the middle?
Yeah.
What you do with median is you line everybody up in order and you take the middle.
Yeah.
The middle amount, which means half the data points are below that amount and half the data points are above that amount. And what it does is it gives you the middle where an average can be skewed if you have like
Really
Warren
high
Buffett,
earners. Right. Yeah.
or
Buffett,
Elon
yeah.
Musk, or somebody who's super, super high net worth can really skew that average.
Right.
Whereas median gives you the middle.
Right.
Some prefer one, some prefer the other. But in this case,
It depends on where you are too. Your preference, I would imagine.
it does. So I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to look for a couple things. I want 2024 per capita income. Right?
Okay.
Is 3,000 or 36,835. So let's use that number and multiply it by the total new people we're going to have. And this will tell us how much more disposable income. This isn't technically disposable,
Yeah.
but we're not going to take the steps to dial it in a little bit
Okay.
to get true disposable. But let's just see how many more dollars are going to be in the market once these jobs get here.
Okay.
200 million. It's 198,724,825.
Whoa.
That's $200 million of disposable annual income
Oh, wow.
that will be here that was not here before.
Wow. Whoa.
And there will be retailers that will show up to get a piece of that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, just as a bit of an aside,
Yes.
we just listed a Gateway Commons outlot. So if you're familiar with Owensboro, right on where Hayden Drive goes through and you got Malco and you've got Crumble Cookies
Oh, yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Well, right next to that, there's open space. There's 3 outlots. And
Yeah.
the one in the middle is owned by a company that has hired us to either sell that piece of dirt for them or do a build-to-suit where we find a tenant and our clients will build the building that they want.
Right.
It needs to be a quick service restaurant, a burger joint, a pizza place, something like that.
Yes.
That's what probably should go there. Maybe a medical office. But, you know, it was just announced right on down at the end,
What?
Publix,
Oh, Publix.
which is going to generate a tremendous amount of traffic.
Yeah.
It may be one of the first, if not the first Publix in the state of Kentucky.
Oh, wow. Right here in Owensboro.
Right here in Owensboro.
Who announced that?
Like which news outlet?
No, like who's brought Publix?
Gulfstream.
Gulfstream.
That's their development there.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Well, you know what Gulfstream is very, very grateful for?
Leland?
No. Well, yeah, I'm sure they're grateful for Leland. No, lots.
Lots. Yes, they're ha ha ha. Nice little acreage joke there. Okay.
There's,
So-
that comes from Danon Kirby. He
That's
gives us
right.
That one. That was good.
That's right.
Mhm.
So when it comes to retail demand,
Mhm.
those 400 jobs are going to turn into $200 million.
Leland did
dollar
say,
bills.
Publix, what up?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. What?
So those 400 new jobs on the retail side are going to turn into $200 million of income that's in the market that isn't here today.
Yes.
That's going to make us more attractive to retailers. And so we should expect more supply. We're going to have more demand because there's going to be more dollars in the market. We should expect more supply. So with our listing there, when I go out, or when top producer Todd Humphreys goes out
Producer Todd Humphreys.
and goes after a Church's Chicken or a Checkers or one of these quick service restaurants, one of these fast food joints that needs to be there, he
Yeah.
can say, new development, it's about to get a Publix. It's going to generate even more traffic than it has today. And in 2 years or less, there's going to be $200 million more of disposable income in our market than we have right now. Like, we have a real compelling story to tell, and it's going to be more than outstanding location. Take advantage of this outstanding location, like that normal marketing garbage that you read in these offering memorandums. Nobody likes writing those, and nobody's really good at writing those, me included. So,
did you see what Leland? He said 150 non-basic jobs from Publix.
Oh, that's 150 non-basic jobs from Publix. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, those probably would be non-basic, and they're going to be even more, even more. But they wouldn't have the multiplier, so we would add them in the total employment. So we went from 400 jobs to 2,684 total new jobs. We can add another 150 for Publix at that point. So that would be 2,830 jobs.
Yes.
Which then you would multiply that number by, and that 200 million goes to.
Did you just do that? Did you just add 150 in your head? 1,834. Yeah. Wow. Nice. Very good. Very good. I'd write it down.
Thanks. Don't ask me to multiply it in my head. Like,
I'm not. I promise I won't. I won't.
But this is how you look at retail. How many more dollars are coming? Now, the next thing you would do, and we're going to stop at this point just for time's sake. The next thing you would do is you would figure out a trade area for a location.
Yeah.
And look around, and I can say there's X amount of dollars in that trade area for this type of service.
Right.
And there's only this much supply in the trade area. Now, the supply would be the amount of square feet competing for those dollars in that trade area.
Right.
And you can start to say there's this many sales per square foot.
Right.
So there's plenty of demand for you to add more supply to this trade area. All of you can still be successful.
Yes. And you can't see it live now, but we dug into it. And when you watch this later, you can watch that right there. About what Bo just explained. We dug into it. It's great. Okay.
All right. Now, would you like to go to let's save office for last.
Yeah, let's do
multifamily next.
Multifamily.
This was the example that we used in episode 1.
Yeah.
We took this through multifamily. So we'll do this again now. It's been a long time.
Yes. Now, if you're wherever you're watching, if you are not following or subscribed at this moment, this would be a great opportunity to follow, to subscribe, share this video, send us some comments right now. It helps us out a great deal. All right, let's move right into
multifamily.
Yeah, baby.
Now, what we have right now, we've figured out there's going to be 5,395 people. I'm not factoring in the 150 non-basic jobs. Let's just roll with what we figured out before.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Sorry, Leland.
Yep. Oh, you know what?
What?
Let's add them in.
Okay. Let's do it. There you go, Leland.
2,684 plus 150 times 2.01. Now we've got 5,696. So total new population, 5,696. When it comes to multifamily, we don't care so much about people.
Right.
We care about
household.
Ding, ding, ding. So what we need to know here is what's the average household size? Well, guess what? This report I ran earlier tells us in Davis County, the average household size is 2.45.
Wow.
So those 5,696 new people, 5,696 divided by 2.45 are going to end up being 2,325. Let's round up. 2,325 new households. New households.
Yeah, baby.
Now those new households, they're going to need what? What's the term of supply, of the supply side?
Yeah.
What's the term? What do they need more of?
Housing, multifamily, residential, space.
Go back to housing. It's housing.
Units. Units, baby.
So household on the demand side, housing unit on the supply side.
Yeah.
So we're going to have increased demand of 2,325 new households.
Yes.
And we're going to need more housing units to meet that demand.
Correct.
So the question is, how many of those people are going to own versus rent? And the way we project this is we figure out what percentage of people rent now in Davis County, and we're going to use that same percentage and project that the people that are, these 2,325 new households, that the same percentage is going to rent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, if you really wanted to get into the weeds, you might look at, okay, exactly what are these jobs? What do they pay? Do the type of employee that has this type of job more or less likely to own versus rent? And you might adjust from there. But for our purposes here, let's just figure out what percentage of people rent in Davis County right now, and we'll use that number for this.
That's great. Let's avoid the nitty-gritty.
So if I scroll down here to the very bottom, 64.6% are owner occupied, 28.6% are renter occupied, and 6.7% are vacant. Now, this 6.7% vacant, I find this number to be almost universally high. This is considering like the class triple F that needs to be bulldozed over, like the really, really nasty lower end stuff. So I think our vacancy rate is much lower than 6.7% when it comes to vacant housing units. But regardless, let's just use this 28.6%. So we're going to take 2,325 new housing units. We're going to divide it. Actually, you're right. We're going to multiply it by 28.6%.
That's what I thought.
It's the first time I've ever said you're right in relation to you and math.
Don't look at the earlier one. That's why the earlier ones are so embarrassing.
665 new rental units. That's what we're going to need to handle the demand generated by these 400 new basic jobs. We're going to need new single family rentals. This 665, it doesn't mean apartments.
Just units.
Rental units.
Yeah.
These single families, duplexes, apartment communities. And what I would do if I were a multifamily developer, I would go find something and build right now.
Yeah, you would.
I would.
Yeah.
Like, as long as these jobs actually show up, like the data tells us there will be demand for over 600 new units. Now, here's what you want to make sure doesn't happen.
Okay.
You don't want to be the fourth developer to build a 200 unit apartment complex.
Then you get oversupply.
Yeah. So what you might want to do is say, can I make money if I try to capture 20% of this demand?
Sure.
Can I go build 120 units?
Yeah.
And be one of 5 developers that build 120 units to meet that demand? That could work.
Yeah.
Right? And in a town our size, you can probably look around and tell what other people are doing. The problem is you can't stop someone else from doing stupid. And what I mean by that is if you're first, or if you're the 4th developer doing 120 units, safe. If you're the 5th one, safe. That'll meet the demand pretty much.
Yeah.
But if 3 more guys that don't understand supply and demand come in and build 100 more each, now you're oversupplied, and you can't stop them from oversupplying the market, which hurts you all.
Right.
That's what's happened with self-storage here right now. In Owensboro, it continues. People continue to keep building and building. We don't need any more here. And so, anyway, it's hurting everybody. So, so that's how you predict demand. 665 new rental units needed in this town to meet the demand from 400 new basic jobs. And you can make money with that information.
Yeah, you can.
Now, for all you developers out there, we've got some dirt that call me. We've got some dirt. We'll help you, get control of it. and you can start working through the entitlement process and get these built. It's easy here to get building permits and entitlements. It takes months, not years.
Yes.
Sometimes less than a month. So,
And here's some insight right here. 115 apartments being built downtown at New Brio Riverfront across from Owensboro Convention Center right now.
Yep. There's another 100 plus on Hayden Road on the way out to my house. Right. So that's kind of the pipeline that you have right now in Owensboro.
Yeah. Which is not meeting the demand for the number that we got at the moment, if those are the only two that are being built.
Right. And Owensboro can use more housing units, period.
Right.
So anyway, it's that's how you take job numbers and predict future multifamily demand.
Yeah, there
is
we
you
go.
turn them into households and you figure out how many more housing units you need to meet that demand.
Correct.
All right, great. So now,
Office?
you want to talk office?
Let's talk office.
Now, here's what we're going to do with office.
Okay.
Everybody thinks office is terrible. But you know what the vacancy rate in Owensboro is right now?
I don't.
It's less than 6%.
Oh, wow.
We have 141,000 square feet of vacancy in Owensboro. Out of, what did I figure out earlier? We have a little over 2.5 million square feet of office space. And 141,000 is vacant. Now, we've just had a huge amount of absorption because of one main thing. What was it?
COVID? No.
Let's back up. Remind me what absorption is.
Absorption is the vacant space that has been filled. So occupied. It's gone from vacant to occupied.
Over a certain amount of time,
Yes.
normally a year.
Yeah.
So in the last year, we've had a lot of absorption,
Yeah.
but it was the U.S. Bank building
Right.
got bought,
Yeah, by Davis County Public Schools.
and they haven't actually occupied it yet, but it looks like they're counting it as occupied. So it went from vacant to occupied. That's like 100,000 square feet
Yeah.
ish. So we have 141,000 square feet of vacant space, which is 5.5% vacancy.
Okay.
Our 10-year average vacancy in Owensboro is about 7% vacancy. Now, you may think that sounds really good, but I'm telling you, we don't have a tremendous amount of office. We don't have a tremendous amount of people here.
Right.
Okay. But we generally have what we need and a little bit more. So it's a healthy kind of market. And there's not a lot of demand, but there's, like right now, we're not getting demand for office space all the time.
Right.
I'm not getting calls for office space all the time.
Right.
But there's also not a ton of vacancy either.
Mm-mm.
So, we're not like some of these big towns that just have these downtown areas that are 36% vacant and all this stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that here. We've got our share of vacancy, but it's a smaller place. It's pretty stable. So what we're going to do is we are going to use a spreadsheet that we use when I teach 102 in the office case study. And we're going to use some things like absorption rate, like, long-term average vacancy, the amount of square footage in the market. And we're going to try to predict the amount of new demand that we're going to have.
Okay.
For office space.
Okay.
Because all of these employees, they're generally manufacturing.
Right.
So those basic jobs aren't going to generate a lot of demand for new office space, but the economic base multiplier on the non-basic jobs that it'll create,
Sure.
some of those will be office using jobs.
Yeah.
So I fully expect these 400 new basic jobs to create demand for office space.
Yes.
But we have to get more specific and segment the type of jobs, because some jobs use office space, some of them don't.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's do that. Let's do that. Let me see if I can pull. Oh, there it is right there. So I'll share my screen
Okay, great.
and we'll take a look at this spreadsheet and see if we can't figure out.
Rodimus.
Oh, no, that's not.
Oh, the Excel thumbnail.
That was not helpful at all.
There.
It is. Got it. Okay. So check this out. That was funny.
All right.
So market area, just fill this in. This is Owensboro. current total supply in rentable square feet. This is 2 million. I looked this up earlier.
Okay.
563,000. Current overall vacancy supply in rentable square feet, 141,000, which ends up being 5.5%. New supply and construction pipeline. I don't know of any new office being built.
Yeah.
I'm going to put 0, but I didn't spend a lot of time researching that.
Yeah.
In fact, there is some. Big Rivers just built theirs. I'm going to put like...
Maybe Leland knows.
I'm going to keep it at 0 just for simplicity's sake.
Okay.
And the stabilized vacancy rate here is around 7%. Okay, so I'm going to put 7%. Forecast period, 12 months. Economic base multiplier, 6.71. Forecast annual employment growth. Now, here's where we're going to get all these other numbers. We're going to put them into the business summary and the executive summary here. And then it's going to give us a gap analysis. But I want you to see this market area employment sector. These are our 2-digit NAICS codes, what we call the super sectors.
Okay.
Things like construction, et cetera, right? And it tells us, construction's a bad example because it doesn't use a lot of office space. But it tells us based on BLS data, that's where we got these numbers. The percent of employees that use office space. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the executive summary for Davis County and the business summary for Davis County. We're going to import that information into this spreadsheet, and it's going to tell us what kind of gap we have in office.
Okay.
And what kind of demand we have. So to do that, I'm going to run the same 2 reports that I ran before, but I need them as an Excel file instead of a PDF. So this will take just a second.
Great. This is a great time to hit subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. If you are listening on Apple Music, which you would not be doing right now, but anybody that's watching at the moment, if you go to Apple Music, leave us a review. We will shout you out. We appreciate it so much. Just hit our name, scroll past a few of the episodes down at the bottom there. All right, then you will run into the reviews. You can read the reviews that were left. They're fantastic. And you can add yours, and we will shout out that review. We're on X, Speak Pod, COM, Speak Pod. And we're live there as well. We will always let you know when we are going live on X, on the other ones as well. We do it. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. No, sorry, TikTok at Commercially Speaking. So if you're on any of those, find us on there. TikTok's really fun.
Okay.
I get a lot of fun little ones.
Nice.
Okay.
So I've run those 2 reports that I needed
Okay.
while you were asking people to the show.
Help the show. Yep.
And help others find the show. That's really what we're asking you to do is help others find the show.
That's right.
I am going to, again, go to the office gap model.
Okay.
So here's what we have. We got 2 tabs down here, the business summary and the executive summary. And so I've run those reports. And so I'm going to go grab the data. I'm not going to switch my screens. I'm going to go over and I'm going to copy the data and I'm going to paste it in right here. So let me do that. Here's the business summary. I copy that data. I come over here and I'm going to paste it. Boom. It's in there.
Great.
I'm going to do the same thing for the executive summary. And jump over to the executive summary. I'm going to copy that data and I'm going to paste it in right here.
Cool.
Boom. Now, if you go back to data input, let's check what we've got here. This tells us the number of office employees based on the business summary. So if you look here, see the employees number?
Yeah.
This column right here is the number of employees by NAICS code right here.
Can we make this bigger
We can.
to fill up that white space? There we go.
So
Whoa.
here's the number of employees and I took this data, I dumped it in the other spreadsheet, and it pulls out the office using employees.
Okay.
Right. So we have just under 10,000 office using employees. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
I don't know why it's doing that. So let's look at the gap analysis. This isn't working either. I broke this thing somehow. I tried to do this one other time on it.
Yeah, it breaks sometimes, doesn't
it? Broke then too. I did something wrong.
Excel will never be a sponsor.
Who knows? All right, let me stop my embarrassment here. And let's do one other thing here.
Okay.
If we have 2.56 million.
Do got a clarifying question when you're done with that.
Okay, so 2.563 million square feet divided by 9,722 employees ends up being 263 square feet per employee. So that's our average in Owensboro, 263.
Okay.
Now here's the other thing. How many employees do we have in Owensboro? We have 51,902. I should say Davis County. 51,902 divided by let me do it the other way. 9,722 office using employees divided by the total amount of employees, 51,902, gives us 18.73% office using employees.
Okay.
So if we have total new jobs coming in, and I'm going to use that 2,684 number. So we're not going to use the public jobs because we know they're not office using.
Right.
2,684 new jobs. Multiply that by 18.73%. 502. Let's round up. 503 new office using employees. If these ratios hold true moving forward.
Yeah.
And they use on average, how many square feet? 263 square feet. So 503 times 263 will tell us we're going to need demand for office space, another 132,289. How much more office space we're going to need in Owensboro? 132,289 square feet.
Woo. Okay.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now we have 141,000 vacant right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have enough vacant to handle all the demand.
Right.
But let's talk about what happens if all this new demand absorbs all the available office space. What happens to the market?
Well, we hit equilibrium. Undersupply. We don't have the vacancy that we need to run an efficient.
Yes.
To run efficiently.
If we don't have a certain amount of vacancy,
mm-hmm.
then the office market bogs down.
That's
People
right.
end up being trapped where they are.
Right.
Let's say I'm running a business and it's expanding and I need more space.
Yeah.
Well, where do you get it? There's no vacant space.
Right.
And likewise, if you need to downsize, you got the same problem. There's no vacant space. You're stuck where you are. Now you got to get somebody to build you what you need or whatever. So that becomes a real problem. You need a certain amount of vacancy. And in Owensboro, traditionally, you need about 7%.
Mm.
You need actually a little bit more vacancy than we have right now.
Right.
Over the last 10 years, that's been the case. We actually have less vacancy now than we average over the last 10 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Just by a little bit.
But
still, we could use just a little bit more.
Right.
That's the office side.
Yeah.
Well, we're generally going to need over the next probably 2 to 5 years more office being built.
Right.
Which is weird to say because we've just kind of poo-pooed office since the pandemic.
That's
because people went home.
Right.
You
right.
know?
So, I mean, and because of that, there's not been much development on office.
That's correct.
Right. And so as people are wanting to go back to office or more jobs for office are coming, there's not been the development for it. So there is a pretty good chance that we're going to go below our vacancy needed for an
We're there
efficient-
now.
Yeah, we're
Now, what
there
happens
now, right?
when there's a lot more demand than there is for supply?
A lot more demand than supply. Well, the
Rent's going to go up.
rent's going to go up. Yeah,
Rent's going to go up, which further incentivizes people to build more office.
that's right. Yeah.
So I think we're going to approach a point probably in the next 24 months in Owensboro where there's going to be a real need for more demand for office.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's going to need to build it.
Yeah.
And the problem with Owensboro is expenses are the same as they are everywhere else in the country, but rents are a lot lower.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to make a financial case to develop something new in Owensboro because we don't get as high of rents as these other places, but our expenses are just as high.
Right.
Now, not all our expenses, like land's a lot cheaper here than it is other places. Utilities are a lot cheaper here than in a lot of other places. But, you know, a stick of wood costs the same here as it does in Dallas, but their rents might be double ours.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
rents going up helps developers get moving and build more office. So,
right.
Yeah, we could see that.
Leland asks, what dictates office for this report? Listings?
Where am I going to get my data? I'm not sharing that with a competitor. Come on, man. We're market experts around here.
Yeah. Well, I was asking what dictates office for this report? Were listings dictating office as what? Like, it's just dictates office for the report. Just any building that's office? It doesn't have to be listed?
It does not have to be listed.
Right. It doesn't have to be listed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't.
If it's an office building and it's vacant, we count it.
Yeah. Right. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. That was it didn't seem like he was asking for
I know.
inside information.
I know and like Leland, so I was just giving him a hard time.
Gotcha.
I'm also not going to give him our proprietary data to share with his bosses. I don't like you that much, man. Come on.
Oh yeah. You notice I did. You probably see that full comment. I did not share that on the stream.
No, that's fine.
Which I think would be fine, but
hey,
all right. So what else are we going? We've gone through all the things that we needed to go through, right?
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's like you take 400, or in this case, we took 3 announcements, netted them together.
Yeah.
You know, Zen, Khan or Ragu, and then the Duramic closing. You net those together, 400 net new basic jobs. And we predicted at a pretty high level, multifamily, office, and retail demand.
Yes. Yeah. So bottom line for anybody that was lost throughout this, we had an announcement of 450 jobs that we figured out are basic jobs.
Yes.
Right. And then a couple other announcements as far as Publix and another one. And so what we came out with that was like we had 2,834 total jobs from that. Is that right? Or 2,684.
It was 2,684 before we added in the 150 Publix jobs.
Yeah.
So that would have taken us to that.
2,834. So that was the total jobs that we are predicting because of that are coming. And so when it comes to multifamily, we figured out that there are how many units needed?
Well, to get there, we took those new jobs, turned them into total population, which was 5,696.
Yeah.
Then we divided by the average household size of 2.45, which is what it is in Davis County, which gave us 2,325 new households.
Come on.
About a little under 30% of Owensboro rents versus owns. And so if that holds true, then we've got a demand for another 665 new units.
Yes.
New housing units.
And if you were a developer, you would be developing right now. Okay.
Now, if you're a home builder, the rest
70% owners
are going to want to buy houses.
Right. Yeah.
And do we have 1,700 houses out there?
We might have to get Sam on here to talk residential, or Barbara Corcoran. Hit subscribe.
But look, we didn't even talk about the residential side.
No, we didn't.
Like home builders. Like we're going to need 1,700 new homes
Yeah.
to handle this demand.
Right. Wow.
We will.
Yeah.
So
that's right. And then we moved into, or we talked about retail as well, talking about like the disposable income of $200 million.
Yeah. And just to be clear, we kept it at total income. We didn't go through the couple extra steps to take, investments and savings and taxes out of it.
Yeah, we're saving that for Patreon.
Yeah, that's right. That would really put you to sleep.
Yeah.
Annually, there's going to be about $200 million more in Davis County, Kentucky, because of these 400 jobs.
Yes. And then we finished with office. And the bottom line there was?
We kind of shoehorned this one.
Yeah.
Because I did something wrong on my spreadsheet.
So
what we did, we were able to figure out how many office using jobs are in Davis County. And we know how much square footage there is of office. So that gives us an average square footage per employee of 263.
Yes.
So then we also figured out the percentage of jobs in Davis County that are office using, and that was 18.73%.
Baby.
So if we've got 2,000, or we use the 2,684 new jobs, multiply that times 18.73%, that gives us 503 new office using jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Multiply that by that average of 263 square feet per employee. And I didn't write it down, but that's another 135,000 square feet of office that we're going to need.
Yeah. All right. There it is. That's what it means. When there's an announcement like this, where the governor, who was just up in the news as a potential vice president nominee here, comes to visit your town because of a job announcement, this is what you can do to figure out what exactly that means underneath the surface of that, especially if you're in commercial real estate. But even too, we touched on some things that we did not go through, where residential will be very important. And then, of course, if you're a business owner and you're like, oh, how can I capture some of that $200 million that are coming into the community? All this is how Bo does it.
And if you want to develop something in our town, since we're getting a brand new Publix, very exciting here.
Yeah, baby.
And because we're getting this new demand, give us a call. We'll help you out.
What's that phone number?
Oh, you want to 270-926-1101.
1101. That's it. Okay,
Same
cool.
one we've had for 50 years.
Probably. I know. It used to be 502. Do you have any specific shout outs on top of the list?
I don't.
Okay, cool.
You got them?
I am going to.
I know we had an Apple one.
Yeah, we do. We got an Apple one.
You got that at the ready?
I got it at the ready. 5 stars. Another 5-star. We got 34 ratings. All of them are 5 stars. If you listen on Apple, or if you do have Apple Podcast, if you go to Commercially Speaking, click on our name. It'll take you to our page. Scroll down past a few of the episodes, and that's where the reviews are. And you can leave a review right there. When you do, we will shout you out. Just like this one, a phenomenal CRE podcast. This is from Ashan Beshear, CRE. Asan. Let me know if I pronounce that right.
Asan.
Who
knows if I did either, but he's a new connection of mine on LinkedIn.
Oh, nice.
So
okay, cool.
Thanks for the review, my friend.
And the review says, as a multifamily broker, I truly learned from Bo Barron, and his podcast is full of wealth of knowledge and experience. Highly recommend it. Thank you so much. Yep, so great. Nick left us a review, the best CRE podcast. Love these guys, always learning something new and laughing along the way. Thank you, Nick. Learning and laughing, Commercially Speaking with Timmy and Bo, is pure gold. Our team is absolutely blown away by how much we learn and grow with each other with each episode. The Barron brothers have a unique ability to make complex topics both entertaining and easy to understand. We're constantly learning and growing thanks to their insight. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And any other shout outs you got right now?
Oh, I talked to Lonnie Hendry of the Tripwire podcast recently, and he said to tell you hi.
Oh, Lonnie. We
Yeah.
love you, Lonnie. And Tripwire.
I almost wore
Your
my
Tripwire.
Trep T-shirt
Yeah.
today, but I went with the company logo.
That's a nice t-shirt. That's a nice Nike.
I'll get you one.
Yeah. I'd love to have one.
All right.
Yeah, that'd be great. Cool. Shout out to everybody that joined us in the chat, including Jay Barron is here.
Yep.
Jay joined. What's up, Jay? Here, a new Publix. He's so excited about that. Hey, Leland, play any Tisby lately?
Hey, I did notice your
Tiz Champ.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Tiz Champ. There's a new game y'all are going to be hearing about soon.
Co-founded
Uh-huh.
by Timmy Barron, ADHD.
It's such a great game. Such a great game. Leland just sent a text message. I think that's just for you. I'll share it with you. But that's it. I think if you have not liked or subscribed or shared any of these videos with the other people that you think could use it, what are you doing?
Yeah, and that's probably other than leaving a review on Apple, like sharing an episode with someone who could use this information is probably the one thing you can do that helps us out the most and further helps people find the podcast. And that's just that's a way to pay it forward and to pay us back.
Yeah.
We have a ton of fun doing this, and we hope you get value out of it. And we get a lot of good comments, and that's kind of wind in our sails to keep doing this. And
Absolutely.
we love
We love emails as well. I mean, sharing this really helps us to spread the word. I got on Wednesday, I got a text that said, dude, Commercially Speaking is a great show. This is from Leland. I've learned a lot and always reminded that I miss out when I don't listen/watch. And I was like, that was really great. I wanted to share that with you.
No, that's great.
It's really good.
Thank you, Leland.
We do have a free newsletter that goes out every single Thursday, an email newsletter with curated articles about business, negotiation, commercial real estate, all the things that you love to consume.
Yeah, it always says a recent episode of the podcast straight to your inbox. You can join that list. We'd invite you to do so. It's at subscribe.wgbarron.com. So we'd love to have you there. And brother, I don't know that I have anything else.
All right. That's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next Monday.
All right.
All right.
Bye, Alice.
Peace. Bye, Alice.